Good evening. My name is Vince Noblett, President of the Speedway Town Council. Today is July 11th, 2022. It's 7 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order. First off, I'd like to introduce members of the council. On my right, Eileen Fisher.
Good evening.
My close right is David Lindsay.
Good evening.
On the left, Gary Pettigo.
Hi there.
And Vice President Gary Rakes.
Good evening.
Our town manager, Grant Callahan.
Good evening.
And far left, we have our town attorney, Bob Clutter.
Howdy do.
Next to him is Jacob Bladesdale, our town clerk treasurer. Thank you very much. First off, I want to start the meeting before I get moving here. The first item on the agenda is Pledge of Allegiance, but I'd like to congratulate our U10 Speedway Sparkplugs Little League girls softball team on their district tournament win. This team had 5 games in 4 days. It sounds like a lot of work. And they are now headed to the state tournament on Friday, July 15th in Clarksville, Indiana. The team will be driving down Main Street at 11:45 a.m. on Friday, July 15th, and then they head out of town for the tournament. The team and their families invite residents and businesses to come on and cheer our team on Main Street. And all those girls are in attendance today. I'm sure some of their parents are. And I'd like to have manager and the coach come up to the podium.
Which is the manager? Which is the coach?
She's the coach. I'm the manager. No, the coaches couldn't be here tonight. I'm the manager. I appreciate the town council inviting us, and I'll introduce the girls. I know that it was a nice run there in the district tournament. A lot of softball, a lot of late nights, but I think we're ready for the state tournament. Everybody
Yes.
excited?
Yeah, if you'd like to introduce them before we...
Sure, and then you guys can go up there and we'll say the pledge. All right. You guys look excited. All right. Up first, Kaylee Jones.
Stand right there. Stand right there. Just stand against the desk.
Kara
Good job.
Taylor. Annalise Warnock. Della Young. Mary Grace Hawkins. Riley Wilkerson. Presley Pollard. Caden Seymour. Harper Bowen. Aubrey Jarvis Heller. And not here tonight, May McDonald, Lily McDonald, and Callie Jarvis. So if you guys want to...
Okay, fantastic. Let everybody rise. You want to lead us in the pledge? I pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Great job. And you guys can leave if you like.
Or stay and have a
Yeah.
great, enjoyable evening of council meeting. Yeah, good luck.
Good luck, ladies.
Good luck. Yeah.
Good luck this weekend, girls.
And we lost the biggest crowd we've had all year.
They'll probably all go home and tune it in on TV.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they will.
YouTube, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right, we'll continue on with the meeting. Next is the approval of minutes for June 13th, 2022 meeting. These minutes have previously been distributed to the council. If there's no corrections or changes, they'll be approved as submitted. Hearing none, they're approved. Move on to item 3, proclamation recognizing Ed Bailey for 50 years of service to St. Andrew's Lutheran Church. Gary, you kind enough to read that?
I'm happy to read the proclamation. This is from the town of Speedway, the town council proclamation. Be it hereby known and proclaimed, whereas St. Andrew's Lutheran Church, located in the town of Speedway, is celebrating their 80th anniversary, and whereas Ed Bailey has served as the organist for St. Andrew's Lutheran Church for 50 years, and whereas Mr. Bailey celebrates 50 years of marriage to his wife Beverly, and whereas the citizens of the town of Speedway, the Speedway Town Council, the members of St. Andrew's Lutheran Church wish to express their sincere gratitude and appreciation for Ed's 50 years of service and a lifetime of commitment to our community, the state of Indiana, and the United States of America. Now, therefore, let it be it resolved that the Speedway Town Council does hereby proclaim this day, Monday, July 11th, 2022, Ed Bailey Day, in the town of Speedway, and encourages residents of Speedway to celebrate his dedication and hard work in our town as he begins his retirement. This is adopted this 11th day of July, 2022.
Fantastic. The actual proclamation was presented to Ed and his wife at church on Sunday, and but we made it formalized it tonight. So I'm sure that he appreciates all the gratitude for his hard work for that many years, and I'm sure that St. Andrews appreciates it, and the town of Speedway appreciates it.
Can I make a comment, Mr. President?
Yes.
I've met Mr. Bailey a couple of times. I have several friends that have attended St. Andrews. This is a church that's moved a few times, not at their own desire. They've been at this current location, I don't know, maybe two and a half decades now, but they've been kind of pushed around when they had facilities within the shopping center, and they've just been a church that's adjusted to different things, and they've thrived, and they serve our community, they serve people outside our community, and I think back 50 years ago what I was doing, I was just a 10-year-old boy, but this and other churches in our town do terrific things, and I'm just glad we're recognizing this man, and the church is 80 years old as well, so that's something to celebrate for sure.
Wow. Okay. Next item on the agenda is a special event request for BC 39 draft party by USAC and IMS.
Good evening, council members. Susie Elliott from
Hi, Susie.
IMS. Hi. We are proposing that on August 2nd, we hold a special event on Main Street for the draft party, which is where the teams and drivers would attend. We have NASCAR drivers, IndyCar drivers, and USAC drivers. It would be a 6 to 9 p.m. event. And, we would focus on obviously drawing, no additional concessions needed, no alcohol, gardens, anything like that. We would just simply invite fans and families to attend Main Street. We would put midget show cars on display. We would have a small stage, and that would be broadcast on Flow Racing.
Wow, that's good. How many, is everybody, as far as the number of cars there, do you have?
We're hoping for 40 midget cars that
Oh,
would be
wow,
brought over
that's
from
big.
IMS. Wouldn't be the entire field, which that load-in is on Tuesday. But, 40-plus cars.
Yeah, it'd be a great opportunity for the public to come out and see, especially on a close.
Correct, and then it would be promoted through the town channels as well as Flow, USAC, and IMS.
Okay. Okay, there we go. Great. Any other questions for Susie tonight?
You may have said it. How many people do you hope to have on
I
the
would
street?
think maximum 500. So we have, with competitors' teams, you're looking at a few hundred people. But then fan-friendly and families, hopefully on a Tuesday evening, we would draw a few more.
And some of that would be celebrities, right?
Correct.
Celebrity drivers.
Yes,
and
we have NASCAR
higher-level
drivers competing. We would also invite media to Main Street as well.
That's great.
Fantastic. Cheryl, do you have anything to add?
Date on here, what was the date?
August the 2nd.
Nothing relevant other than important, I guess, other than it's already been discussed between the review team of the town, fire, police, streets, and they saw no issues with it. The only thing we did change on the application, I know you're wanting to shut down the streets starting at noon, but we did ask that we move it up to 2 o'clock out of respect for the businesses that still have events going on or their businesses going on. So,
And that's pretty much our standard.
It is our standard.
Try not to close before 2.
Yes. And I have reached out to a couple of the businesses already, and we'll do so again. And I think USAC and IMS was doing that as well.
Mr. President, excuse me, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the request for the BC 39 draft party by USAC and IMS as presented.
I'll second.
Second up, Eileen. I'll open up for any questions, or anybody have any questions with Susie?
So the one question, Cheryl, was, I think when you were sent out an email on this, there was the apartments and the ability to get to their parking garage, or what is, I know in the past, I believe in May, we had that opening where they could come through where the hotel construction is. Is that going to be the same situation here?
That's what we'll ask for again, is that the residents at the apartments, that we can set up a temporary entrance off of 16th Street so they can enter still that back way. I don't know that construction will be an issue at this point.
We don't know whether it will be or will not, so
Okay.
it could be.
Okay. So we'll have to discuss a backup plan for that if the construction interferes with it. But as of right now, that would be the plan. The manager of the apartments is always very good to work with, and when we've done it before, he typically invites the residents, and if you all have a communication piece to send to them, he posts that and sends that to all the residents to include them as well.
That's great.
Perfect.
Any other questions? If there's no other questions, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
And I will abstain.
And we have one abstention. Okay, well, thank
Great.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is website service provider agreement with Civic Plus and Cheryl.
Hi, Council. So in an effort to continually enhance the effectiveness and how we share news and information and events with the community, we want to elevate the existing website some. I've been meeting with each town department to get input from them of how the website itself can better serve the customers in the community that call into them with questions. We've reached out to a couple of different web development providers, and in your package you'll find information on the proposed vendor that we've kind of narrowed it down to. Our choice would be Civic Plus. Civic Plus is a web development company that specializes in government communication systems. They offer a prepackaged functionality and content management system. Even though it's prepackaged, it can be customized in either look or functionality visually for our needs. A couple of the objectives that we're trying to reach in switching from our current provider to this provider. We want to build a professional-looking website that will incorporate the new branding guidelines that the town has, whether it be the colors, the logos, the feel. We want a responsive design, which means it will resize on whatever device you're using, whether it's your phone, your tablet, a monitor. We are looking to achieve easy to use and easy to keep updated. Our current website probably served its purpose for a time period, but it's not updated. A lot of the information is not current, and I do think part of that is it's just not focused on, and it's not easy to update. So we will put a system in place that we can better manage that. And we want it for the users, which would be the residents or visitors to the town, to make it easy to find what they're looking for. Hopefully they can get to where they want to be based on just a couple of clicks. The deliverables that we will get with Civic Plus, and I think you have those there, they will work with us for a time period to understand what our objectives are, which are the items that I just talked about above. They'll help us to find a visual layout, a template that works for our needs. They'll discuss the navigations and the content that's on there, where we want pages to link to each other, or what we want the functionality behind it to be. They will take our current website and will work with us one-on-one to migrate any existing content that we want to keep, but then they'll also actually build out our new pages. For instance, we don't currently have an HR page, so that would be one of the first pages that we build in to help with our hiring process, and so that people, when they're wanting to look at the town of Speedway, they can easily find what jobs are available and why they would want to work here. The projected project length time will be 8 to 10 weeks once we get it approval and get started. A couple of the notables with Civic Plus, the portfolio, they do use a couple local areas, including Zionsville, Avon, and Brownsburg. They offer a text messaging feature so that residents can sign up to receive a lot of our alerts or our messages via text if they would like to do so. Similar to how we do our emails now with residents, we could also offer the texting feature. It will have a social media integration so that what is currently on our website will automatically go to Facebook or Twitter or whatever social media that we happen to be using. So that should be more efficient and up to date. It will also offer email broadcasting, which is what we currently have, but eventually we may be able to replace our current system of emailing and incorporate it into the same one. It also features fillable forms, such as for employment applications, registrations, things of that nature, meeting agendas. There's a job posting module for HR. There's Google Translate. It has many different languages that is just a click of a button, and it can translate our website into a language of your choice. And it's also ADA compliant, meets all of those standards. The proposed fee that you see on here for year one is $9,950. That's the initial cost to build and get the site up and going. Subsequent years would be about $4,200 for regular maintenance, and then there's a 5% technology uplift, which is when they go in and any kind of calculations or coding or technical functionality we have, it's a technical upgrade for that. Compared to our current provider, it would be a savings of about $500. We currently pay $4,725. Potential additional savings, I went ahead and included those. That may not be up front, but it may be down the road. As I mentioned, it also offers an email blast. Our current system costs us $600 yearly, and the email blast that this does is built into our package. So providing they both work the same way, basically, and achieve the same thing, then we can potentially save another $600 a year. With the creatable forms that it has, we also have, also use another system for different registrations, and that's $2,200 a year. So depending, once we see the details of this one, that may be something we may be able to switch to in a year or so once we see how this one functions, to see if it gives us the same results. So that's kind of the gist in a nutshell. I do respectfully ask for you to consider and approve for us to move forward with the contracting with Civic Plus so that we can provide the community a more user-friendly and better functioning website that easily allows them to find and locate helpful information. A side note, the contract, we're still working on that. Bob did have a couple of adjustments to meet with those, but I think they were respectively minor, and so we're still working on that part of it. Any questions?
The only other comment I would have, we did budget $15,000 for this project in the 2022 budget, so we're coming in about $5,000 under that. The $4,200 maintenance fee that is an annual recurring fee, as she said, is less than we currently pay. We pay about $4,700. So we think we're going to get an improved website that has better functionality, help spread the message and the word, and allow people to do things like get permits online and do those other things that we would like it to do.
As I've met with each department so far, they've been very excited when we've showed them a mock-up of what ours will look like, and then we were able to show them some of the details that, or the functionality that some of the other websites already have that ours does not offer. So it's been very well received among all the town departments that we've met with.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Absolutely, I'll make a motion that we approve the website service provider agreement with Civic Plus, as explained by our Director of Communications.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second?
Before I ask a question, I'll defer time to Mr. Clutter, who's tried to make it.
Okay.
Mr. Lindsay, as Cheryl mentioned, she did send this agreement to me, and their master services agreement had a few problematic provisions, which we've kind of gone back and forth. I think we'll work them out in the very near future. So I would respectfully recommend an approval subject to final review of myself and approval of those terms.
You need a change to the motion for that, or are we good?
Yeah, you can just do it with that condition.
Okay.
Cheryl, I have a question or two.
Sure.
Will we keep the same web address? Or do we have to go get a new one?
I don't have an answer for that, but I can find out. Ideally, we would like to keep our existing address.
Sure.
Yeah, because that would have to be built into the campaign.
I guess as we registered that domain name, so
It's done separately,
It's
yeah.
ours, we pay a separate fee, so good question, though.
And then the bill pay for your office, Jacob, is that compatible? Is this new system compatible with that?
Yeah, the bill pay system is a function of our software, of our utility billing software. So that is actually almost, it kind of goes to almost a separate site. It has a look and feel. We'll need to work with our utility provider there, the utility billing service provider, to get it updated to kind of match the look and feel of the new website. But that'll all be kind of just on the background of the website.
It should be a seamless process so that the user probably won't even recognize they're going outside of our website. It'll just link to, I would think, your current.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll need to make some adjustments, I think, with the design to make that seamless, but we will, make those changes.
Cheryl, did they give you a timeline of how long this would take to transition?
About 8 to 10 weeks for completion.
8 to 10 weeks?
Yeah. Hoping it goes quicker because we've actually been working ahead of that schedule, so we already have some of the content in place and have kind of already worked through some of the information on our current website that is not up to date, that is not accurate, that we don't want to include. So we're hoping by us working ahead a little bit, we can shave some of that time off.
And that actually, if you remember, we did hire the intern to do the website, and I think Jamie's work has led to us really not having to do a lot of that work externally and saving those monies. That's why the dollars are less than I think we kind of budgeted for.
Okay.
Yep. You mentioned a few other communities that work with them. Did we talk to those communities or any of those communities just to see how that's gone?
I did not reach out and talk to them. I'm happy to do so. But no, I did not. When we compared those to the other local sites, when we would search items, the search engine seemed to work very well. The links were working, the options that it was giving us to use. But no, I did not reach out, but I'm happy to do so and follow up.
Our intern is working on this now, correct?
He is, yes.
Our intern will not be with us forever.
No, he will not.
So who will maintain this for the town once he leaves?
That would be me.
Okay.
That would be me. And we do have the option of, if there's a department that wants to actually do, because it will all be tied and secured to a template, so it will have editable areas that people can change, and we have to give them authorization to do so. So if they're fire department or police department, they may have, needs to do it on their own. We can assign different administrative authorities. Yeah, permissions.
And I would also, I know we've talked to Eder about being trained on the software so that he can also help with SRC and other departments, HR, parks, to post that information. So it won't just be Cheryl. We'll make sure we have at least a 2-deep coverage. That way we have more knowledge of the site.
Okay. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote, and the approval is subject to review by our town attorney, Clutter. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next on the agenda is the Speedway Redevelopment Director Employment Agreement. Grant?
Yes. So just a very quick highlight and summary of the proposed agreement. In Section 2 of the covenants, this is for a 3-year term, July 18th of 2022. His first day is proposed to be next Monday through July 17th of 2025. That's the initial term. There is a provision that 1-year terms can be renewed successive as long as things are going well. The duties laid out in Section 3 mirror what our Economic Development Redevelopment Director did previously. No changes have been made to those. On page 3 of the agreement, under Section 4, compensation is discussed, the salary of $113,000, which is also appearing in the salary ordinance this evening. That is about 10% higher than the previous director. The employee, though, will not be eligible for a raise until January of 2024 because he's coming in halfway through the year. There is a $30 per month cellular telephone reimbursement allowance for his personal cell phone being used as a business phone. He'll also be reimbursed mileage driven on his personal vehicle according to the IRS rate. Vacation is outlaid there, 20 days per year, 8 PTO per year, but those days will be prorated further on in that section based on the days that he will be working this year. He is paying the 3% contribution to PERF. Under Section 5, there's a lot of language regarding confidentiality and if the person leaves to take another job, what they can and cannot do. So there's a lot of that information in 5 and 6. That's fairly standard. I know that was language that was put into my contract when I started almost a year ago. On page 5 of that agreement, and I did just find an error that I see, town is misspelled in Section 7, so we'll correct that. Severance pay, there is a provision for 30 days severance after 1 year of employment. Performance bond, everything else is fairly standard. This is being approved by the town council. The position works for the SRC, but does report to the president and the town manager. That was made very clear in the different languages, just to make sure we're all on the same team working together. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you might have. This has been reviewed and signed by Mr. Cook. I know the copy you have, he did sign it this afternoon, and Jacob has that signed copy.
Well, I guess maybe before we have conversation, we ought to have a motion. I'll make a motion that we approve the Speedway Redevelopment Director Employment Agreement.
Okay, got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
A motion and a second, so open it up for questions.
So we participated in the interview process. I'm talking about the town council. The redevelopment commission spearheaded that, and they've approved the hire, obviously.
Yes.
Person already has a start date, subject to agreement and those
Yes.
kind of things. So just verifying that. Thank you.
Yep.
If they had a meeting where they've approved that?
No, I didn't know that was required.
The hire?
Yeah, to hire the employee is an employee of the town.
Okay.
So if that's not the case, then we can have an SRC meeting to do that.
Yes, they are an employee of the town rather than the SRC. So if you want to have them approve it at a public meeting, you can, but it's not a requirement. Your approval at the public meeting, since he's your employee, is what would be necessary. The approval of the agreement during a public meeting.
Okay.
So I'll make a comment. So obviously, we posted this job for well less than the salary that's in here. And nothing against, obviously, the individual, but, I'm going to vote no this evening just because of that. I feel that our salaries are getting a little high here, and that the people we can't compare our salaries with some of the other cities and towns, especially like where he came from, because of of the fact it's much larger, and there's more, I would feel that there's more job duty. So, and I spoke with the individuals on the SRC's members, so they're aware of, my concerns, so.
Okay. Any other comments?
I also will be voting no, and I concur with Councilor Fisher this evening.
Okay.
I appreciate the comments by Councilor Fisher and Councilor Lindsay. I'll be voting yes. I think that we continue to talk about trying to take our community to the next level, and I think hiring folks that have been at the next level will help us to do that. And in this economy, when the Redevelopment Commission did the search, it was surprising how there were some very solid candidates, and there were a lot of candidates that were not qualified much at all. And the number of actual applicants was fairly minimal, because I think there's so much opportunity out there in the private sector and in somewhat in the public sector for more money. And I think that's part of why that happened. And I think if we're going to get ourselves to the next level, we have to be ready to invest in that.
Okay. Any other comments?
I agree with your comments, Councilor Rakes.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of the Redevelopment Commission employment agreement signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2. Okay, next on the agenda is Ordinance 1360, an ordinance amending 1353, establishment of jobs and salaries to be paid certain offices, positions, and jobs within the town of Speedway, Indiana for the year 2022 second reading. Grant?
Yes, so the three positions identified in the ordinance, they are highlighted in yellow. The Director of Communications, which has an increase of from $57,240 to $64,000. Executive Assistant, increase from $35,700 to $40,000. And then the Executive Director or Redevelopment or Economic Development Director as was approved tonight in that agreement, 113. Those were the three changes made to the salary ordinance, or proposed to be made.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'd make a motion that we approve ordinance number 1360 as explained by our town manager.
I'll second the motion.
Can we shut off the phone, please? Thank you. Given that we got a motion and a second, I'll open up the any comments?
So I was not here for the first reading of this one, so I'll make, again, just my comments in regards to our salaries. Not only are we increasing salaries, we're also adding people. We've added HR, a couple other, one from part-time to full-time. So I'm just really concerned about where we're going to be at in a few years, or even next year for that matter, with our salaries being very top-heavy. So I will be voting no for the changes here.
I'll just repeat what I said at our last meeting. In my time on the council, I don't remember a time throughout the year, unless it was a new hire or something similar to that, where we have given raises to employees during the year. I think this sets a bad precedent, a 12% and 11.8% raise during the middle of the year. I think we're in July, we're coming up on budget. I don't see why we couldn't wait another 5 months to have this occur. Again, this is a first for me that I can recall. So I will be voting no again tonight as well.
Thank you, David. Any other comments?
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment or two. I appreciate the comments of both Councilors Lindsay and Fisher. In my relatively short term on the council compared to the rest of you all, I've heard numerous times how critical, how important it is that we keep moving forward as a town and as a community. A perfect example is the building that we're sitting in right now compared to the old facility on Lyndhurst. We need to continue to look forward, not look in the rearview mirror all the time. I question whether or not the individuals listed on the salary ordinance were maybe underpaid at the beginning compared to what we probably should have paid. Councilor Lindsay, I'd like to refer you back to a business luncheon that you and I both attended a few months back at IMS. And it was hosted by Mr. Pinsky. And he made comments during that luncheon about how important it was to pay for top talent and the fact that you needed to pay to obtain them and you needed to pay to retain them. And that really hit home, looking at, where we're at currently as a town and where we want to go. I can't think of any better business example, anybody better to listen to in terms of business wisdom than Roger Penske. So for those reasons, I'm definitely voting yes.
If I can just respond real quick to that.
Sure.
I completely agree with your assessment of Mr. Pinsky for obvious reasons. However, Mr. Pinsky's a privately owned business that he owns, and we answer to the taxpayers of this town. And that's what I'm thinking about. And we have tax rates and budget that we have to propose that, in fact, this affects 100 employees. And I think by giving 2 people raises, there's 100 other employees that this does not send the right message to them. But I hope with budget hearings next month that we can do the same thing for them and give them the raises that they all deserve as well.
Yeah.
I agree. I agree with that final statement for sure. We're not a private business, but we're in a position where we provide services, physically and information wise. The old saying, you get what you pay for.
I'll make the comment that the comments I made earlier apply to this as well, and I think that again we're trying to take our town forward. When we look at our schools, our school teachers are the highest paid in the state. Our administrators are in the top 10. Our police department, fire department, other departments are paid. I don't know the exact percentage, but I know we're in a top tier, if you will, and I think we want to make sure that other departments within our community do the same thing. And when our town manager compared salaries of several departments and several department leaders or employees at different levels, these stuck out, and that's why I think he made the recommendation, and for that reason I'll be approving as well, or voting for approve as well.
Okay. Can I ask one question? Who was it that made the recommendation for these raises? Are you saying it was Grant?
I think so.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'm going to go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor of approval of the employment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of claims and utility adjustments. Jacob?
We skipped item 8.
No, circled the wrong one. Approval of the forum for the promissory note for the reimbursement of training expenses incurred by the town for employees to receive commercial driver's license, a CDL grant.
Yeah, so this is a form of a promissory note that we can use when people need to get training to acquire something like a commercial driver's license. Those expenses currently are being charged at about $3,500. I'm not surprised to see those increasing as well. And we may have to do this more often in the future to get qualified employees for those positions. But this basically states that that employee will sign this agreement. If they don't work for the town for 2 years, they are required to pay a portion of that back based on how long they were with the town. I think the agreement specifically says, there in the second paragraph, the amount due under this instrument shall be reduced by $875 for each 6 months of employment up to that 2-year period. So with that, I don't know, Bob, if you have any other questions. This is fairly standard for educational, training, expenses.
Fire departments use it pretty frequently. Anytime you're providing a lot of equipment or training, you don't want to provide that training and then 2 weeks later they move. The CDLs, obviously drivers, commercial drivers are in huge demand now.
Yeah.
And if you pay to get them a CDL and 2 weeks later they go for a big increase, you want to at least be compensated for those, the training that you provided.
Mr. President, I want to make a motion that we approve the form of the promissory note as presented by our town manager.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Open up for discussion.
To our attorney, is a promissory note the correct form to use for this? These have to be registered with the state, correct?
No, these do not.
These do not?
They do not, no. And so typically what happens with these, I'm actually getting ready to file suit on one now where one of my clients used this exact thing for getting a CDL, and a month later he left. So just file it in small claims court if they don't pay within 30 days.
So this is a common form to use then?
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
I've worked with a number of transportation companies over the last 20 years, and as our attorney described, the two most difficult positions to hire for in our country are medical doctors and truck drivers. And trucking companies are paying for training, and they're holding, in all of them, again, we're talking about private sector and town and so forth, but the private sector absolutely holds employees that they train in advance of them actually beginning to pay them and make them money. As a driver, they hold them to that. So this has been common in the private sector, very much so.
Grant, can you go over what departments are using the CDL?
It would mainly be our street department, but other departments, water and wastewater, some of them have CDLs. I don't think it's required, but some of them do have it. They'll drive larger trucks. Anybody that drives a commercial vehicle has to have a CDL.
I spoke to our street commissioner today about this, and an interesting point to me was that they now have, I'm going to say it wrong, but I'm going to try and say it right. Okay. The training that they have to attend, it used to be that you could do it on your own, but now you have to attend a specific driving school. So we will also be paying the employees whether they attend the school, I think, which is good that we have this in, because they're getting paid by the town to attend the school to earn the CDL as well. Yeah. So that was something new that I guess they just changed that
Highway just changed that effective, I think it was June 1st.
Yeah.
And I don't get hung up on the amount. This was what the amount we could find now. It could change in 6 months. We just are unsure. So that amount will change based on whatever that actual cost is. So, and we actually have an employee now that is going through this, and they will be asked to approve and enter into this promissory note. We don't have to do that often. A lot of times people come to us with a CDL, but in this example, they didn't have one.
Again, I'll reference just what we've done. I think you bring a good point, Councilor Lindsay. The whole industry of transportation, CDLs, et cetera, depending on who's in control in Washington, will tell you whether there's going to be more requirements for the health of that employee, for the restrictions or the lesser restrictions on CDL requirements and some of those things. There's a big push by certain groups to have and we already have physicals that that some of our employees have to have when they're operating heavy equipment, but to go much further. So this is not a surprise. It's common, very, very common in the industry in general. Those physicals can cost as much as $2,500 a year for each truck driver. So just something to be aware of down the road, that those kind of things are potentially coming at us depending on who's in control in Washington.
Okay, there's no other discussion. I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of approval of the form of promissory note for the reimbursement of training expenses incurred by the town employee to receive a commercial driver's license?
I did. We're good. They were wanting to be sure we had a motion, and we do.
I thought we did. Yeah.
Me.
Okay.
Myself and Eileen.
Yeah, you and Eileen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Eileen. I think we're clear as mud now.
Thanks. I'll proceed.
Yes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Okay. Ready for you, Jacob?
All right.
All right. You guys approval of claims and utilities adjustments.
Yeah, I just want to say, usually you skip me, and the fact
I
that you
know.
tried to skip to
I
me,
tried to
actually
come
really
to you.
appreciate that, Mr. President. Thank you. Claims presented to you represent those made June 11th through July 8th, and I'm happy to take any questions or would appreciate your approval.
This is just my night to ask questions.
All right.
Town event support, there are several claims on here for that I don't remember seeing those before.
I believe those were made for the Rockin' on Main event, which Cheryl did a great job of getting donations to pay for those. So they've been funded on the back end, but they are coming out of that appropriation.
Okay.
Good question.
And then also, just for the public to be aware, the summer camp, that's money that's not coming from the town. That's money that's provided from the schools to us, and we just we reimburse.
Correct, yeah, donations and from the school, yep.
I'll make a motion that we approve the claims as presented by our clerk treasurer.
I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any other questions? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote for the approval of claims as presented by our town clerk treasurer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Jacob?
Adjustments are the same time period, June 11th through July 8th. There's a leak adjustment, couple of incorrect payment postings, and return mail error being corrected in this, and appreciate your approval on this as well.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the adjustments as presented to us by Clerk Treasurer.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Open it up for any discussions on the adjustments.
I think there's a whole lot of leakage going on in backyards these days with gardens and
Yeah, a lot of watering, yeah.
Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor of the adjustments as presented by our town clerk treasurer signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jacob. Next, we have a report from our department supervisors. First up, Cheryl? Ladies first. Ladies first.
it's a long walk.
It's okay.
Hello again. So this is just a little teaser. Upcoming press release from the Speedway Police Department will be the road or the parking restrictions and street restrictions for the July 30th and 31st race weekend. That will be coming out soon, and we'll share that via email, Facebook page, and website. Let's see, upcoming events, August 2nd, thank you for approving the USAC and IMS BC 39 draft party. Details will be coming out for that soon because that is August 2nd, pretty close. August 6th, Speedway Animal Rescue fundraiser concert will be held at Meadowood Park, and that is from 5 to 9. You can find more information on that at Speedway Animal Rescue's website page or Facebook page. Let's see, September 10th, there is a Relay for Life of Circle City. I do not have a lot of details on that. That was just information that I located that I thought I would share. It is out on our social media pages. September 16th through 17th, the Old Speedway Community Neighborhood Association Annual Community Sale. October 7th is tentatively USAC Oktoberfest again. We're still going through the application and approval process for that. The only other thing I wanted to include was kind of an honorable mention. The Speedway Public Library, they have a lot of great activities going on, events, reads for adults and kids alike. So if you're looking for something for yourself or your kids to do through the summer, check out their Facebook page at Speedway Public Library. That is all I have.
Thank you, Sharon.
Anything?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Police Chief. Chuck.
Good evening, Council.
It's a short shot to the podium.
I just moved closer. Well, the bad part is, you know how that goes. Cheryl stole some of my material. So I'll be brief tonight. On June 20th, Officer Kathleen Rodriguez was sworn in as one of our newest officers. Kathleen came to us from IMPD. She was an 8-year veteran. And she is progressing very quickly through our FTO program and should be in full service here in the next few weeks. So on that note, Officer Robbie Harris, who's been with us for 22 years, is set to retire this week. Officer Harris has been done a tremendous service to the town, and we wish him a happy retirement. And I think he's just ready to move on and try a new experience. So we wish nothing but the best for Officer Harris. On June 24th, Sergeant Robert Feckus graduated from the IMPD Leadership Academy. That academy is an intense 4-week program, and thus far we have sent just about all of our supervisory staff through that program. And we thank IMPD for inviting us to send officers to attend that academy. And just as a quick reminder, we are under 2 weeks, as Cheryl mentioned, till our next racing event, which will be the weekend of the 30th and 31st of July. We just want to remind everyone that we will begin our parking restrictions on July 28th. So for those folks that live along the restricted parking routes, please be mindful of the signs, and our officers will always go up and try to make notifications so we don't have to tow and ticket vehicles, but just be mindful of the fact that we do have a racing event coming up. So that's all I have.
Chief, any updates on the officers that were hit when they were assisting?
You know, Officer Tice is progressing, and he should be back to full duty here in the next couple of weeks. So he's been on light duty, and we've kept him busy in the office, but I think he's anxious to get back and go back to work and not have to see us every day. So,
Do you know anything about the state trooper?
the state trooper, my understanding is, I can check on that. I haven't had any recent updates, but I don't think that was anything life-threatening. It was, I think he had minor injuries, but I can update and get an update on that and let you know. So,
Thank you.
Good.
thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Tammy, would you like to go next?
Good evening. I'm going to start off about concerts. We've got a concert this Thursday, Crush Bon Jovi Tribute Band. Our concerts are Thursday, 7 to 9 p.m. And we have concerts scheduled every Thursday through September 1st. I believe Brian was going to put up the schedule on there if he hasn't already. We wanted to thank our sponsors because without them we couldn't have these concerts. So we had a nice schedule of concerts this year. Speedway Lions Club, Wessler Engineering, Alliance Insurance Company, Daredevil Brewing, the Miller Family, and Philip Faust with Wykert Realtors were all sponsors of our concerts this year. So I encourage the community to thank those companies and individuals. If you see them out and about or you frequent their establishments, please thank them for their support, the community support for us to be able to offer these concerts. We also have market in Meadowood on Thursdays as well. The time there is 5 to 8 p.m., so there is a little bit of an overlap on concert days. That's very good for the vendors. They really enjoy being out there during the concerts. On non-concert days, we have had the benefit of a gentleman who comes and plays music during the market. So that's been nice for us. His name is Randy, and some of his friends come and play. We have vendors that are selling plants, honey, baked goods such as cookies, sweetbreads, brownies, candy, handcrafted gift items, custom-made tumblers, bags, jewelry, wreaths, and various forms of artwork. We do have some produce and eggs available once or twice a month based on the availability from the farm that is providing those. We also have sweet corn that should be available soon. We're looking forward to that. And we have some community groups that are on hand educating the public and raising funds for their causes, such as Speedway Trails, Speedway Animal Rescue, the Villages of Indiana, Speedway Library, and Breathe Easy Speedway. Speedway Parks and Speedway Arts Council have been partnering for some great projects. Katie Myers of Speedway Arts has applied for a green space grant from Keep Indianapolis Beautiful. We have an on-site in-person interview at Leonard Park this Wednesday, July 13th at 3 p.m. And if we are awarded this non-monetary grant, it will provide the needed plants for the hummingbird butterfly garden that's on the east side of Leonard Park. And we do invite people to come out and support us during this in-person interview that we're having on Wednesday. In addition, we've partnered with them for a Leonard Park yarn art project that's also going to go on 3 to 4 panels of the fencing by that same garden. We've had about a dozen ladies that have been working on crocheting different sizes and colors of circles that will adorn that fencing into like a mosaic. So that'll be a nice aesthetically pleasing, other than just the fence with the street department on the background. We're going to have that covered. We're going to have other drapes or plastic or something that covers the fencing. I'm not sure the right terminology for those to help block that view and make that a more pleasing area. There's also a memorial bench there in that area. So we're looking forward to getting that done at Leonard Park, in addition to the grant improvements that we're doing over there as well. The tennis courts are being built right now. I know there's been some confusion on that. Those are going to be tennis courts with pickleball lines. Both will be painted on them. So just to clear that up for everyone. And then I wanted to mention our camps. We've had another successful year of camps. We're kind of winding down. We've got our kind of last camp started today. It's the cornhole camp out at Leonard Park. The camps and swim lessons, we had over 500 camp and lesson engagements. We continue to thank Speedway Schools for their partnership with us. I want to especially thank the school board for continuing to approve the funding to help subsidize. We do bring in some registration, but it's not nearly enough to cover all the expenses we have for camps, and the school board has continued to approve that funding for us. So that's been amazing. We hope that continues. I also wanted to thank Mr. Chuck Bennett for his immeasurable help in coordinating all the student and adult coaches for the sports camps and the art camp. I want to thank Mark Smallwood for running the cornhole and horseshoe camps out at Leonard Park, and to the Speedway Running Club for their volunteer coaches and running the junior running club. So that's been another great program that we've had to offer. I also wanted to special thanks to Mr. Jim Robinson. He makes a donation about every year, and his donation helps fund students who otherwise can't participate in any of our sports camps, not only during the summer but also the winter. So I wanted to give him a shout out as well. And I wanted to spank the community, oh my gosh. Okay, there was a few kids in this camp that could have used that, but actually, I want to thank the community volunteers that helped me with the Speedway Unplugged Camp. That was a new one this year that I ran. It was 4 days long. It was a lot of fun. A special thanks to Justin of the street department. On the last day of that camp, he did a tire change demonstration. All the kids got to check the air pressure in my tires. They got to add air to the tires. They checked the oil. They all had a great time with it. That was the last day. The fun part for me about that is on Monday I received a text message. That camp was on a Thursday. So on Monday I get a text message from one of the moms who says, guess what? And I say, what? And she says they had a flat tire on their way to Great Wolf Lodge on Sunday, and it really stunk. And she said, however, her son knew how to change the tire and proceeded to say, thank you, Miss Tammy. So I thought that was pretty awesome. So she sent me a picture of their flat tires. So that was pretty fun. But other than that, that's all I have. If anybody has any questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Tammy.
Chief Fishburne.
I thought he was last.
Chief, I'd like to point out that she had a slide for us. Do you have any?
Chuck doesn't let me do slides, and he carries a weapon, so I listen to him.
Oh, my goodness.
By the way, I hardly recognized him. And Bob Lehman may be in trouble for Santa Claus this Christmas. I think he's just rubbing it in because I can't have a beard.
I think he's
so.
undercover.
Yeah. Just have a few things. Want to talk a little bit about some of the community things. I know that our union helped with the Run 317 marshaling, and we loaned them a couple of our Polarises, and I think that event went off pretty well, and you can always use more volunteers, I'm sure. So
yeah, that was great.
We are going to be a part, the Moose Lodge, the Speedway Moose Lodge, which actually isn't in Speedway, but it's down on Vermont. We always participate in their National Night Out, which is the national date, not when we'll work with Speedway and Parks. It looks like we're going to do a big blowout. So they're going to be participating in that at the end of the month. We are taking our trailer and a bunch of information over for the Praxair company-wide family day. They asked us this year if we could come over because they're expecting a lot of kids, so we're helping out with that. Also have some bad news. We lost a firefighter that had previously worked here and whose brother currently works here. Robert Levisic passed away on July the 5th. His services will be in Bloomington on Wednesday. Bob worked with us from May of 1998 until March of 2002, and then did a lateral transfer because he met and married his wife down in Bloomington. 53 years old. And Mike, his younger brother, Levisic, is one of our firefighters. So we're going to be a big part of that. On Friday, we helped escort his body to Martinsville, hand it off to Bloomington, and yeah, we just kind of mourn his loss. He was one of those larger-than-life guys and was just a year and a half away from retirement. So just very sudden, and I wanted to let you guys know that because I know some of you know that family. We are going to be participating in our marathon training for butane. There's been some changes over there, so we're sending all of our guys through that. And then I wanted to address, there was a release about hydrants and vandalism and all of that, which Cheryl, I really appreciate you getting that out. We had a little bit of questions asked of us, so I let President Noblet know that I would kind of speak to that. It was really more utility theft than it was vandalism. And so tonight, what I wanted to say, and I think what Cheryl's going to reiterate, is it really is a see something, say something. In regards to, a lot of people would not think of a truck pulling up to a hydrant in the middle of the day and loading up with water. They would think that maybe that's something during a drought that happens. But if it's not a town vehicle or a fire department vehicle, which would qualify as a town vehicle, it's never going to hurt to call the non-emergency number and report that. That number is 246-4343. or you can always call the 311 number, which will get routed back to us so that we can send an officer to check. They may have properly gone to the street department and got a meter, and they may be metering that and paying the town for it, but we've already caught some utility theft. In the process of that theft, what seemed like vandalism, because they're turning the valves off, they're twisting those off, it makes the hydrant inoperable, which we're very fortunate in Speedway because we have a hydrant each direction, 500 feet, but it can certainly slow down our ability to fight a fire and endanger us. So it really, citizens just need to call that non-emergency number, and if we go by there and check it out, it might be legit. But we've had a few cases where they've been stealing that water. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that. Fox had a piece out, and it's happening in other communities too. It's that time of year, and people will try to get away with what they can. I know we've already caught, ticketed, and fined somebody that was doing that. So I just wanted to clarify that. So you guys have any questions at all?
How much is, just for the public to know, how much is a fire hydrant if we replace it?
I'm the wrong guy to ask, and I know we've got wastewater. Ronnie could probably tell you.
Yeah.
I really don't know because our water department handles all of that.
Okay.
But with labor, what's a hydrant? What does just the hydrant cost?
Just on the one, so there's been 2 incidences where we've caught somebody tampering with it. On the one that did cause damage, they also broke the valve.
Right.
On that, and so speaking with Zach DeBrew, who's our distribution foreman, he said it's going to cost close to $15,000 to completely take that out, repair the valve and the hydrant.
Wow. And that's probably, is that including labor?
That includes a little bit for labor as
okay.
well. Yeah.
You've got a valve that runs down that drains out. It's a mess when the valve gets snapped off, and that's why we maintain them. And Speedway does a good job. But people in a hurry to steal don't usually pay attention to what direction to turn that, which is the opposite direction, and they'll twist it right off. So, at least if you're going to take it, turn the valve in the right direction so we don't have to fix it.
Okay. Be considerate.
Be considerate, yeah, in your thought. So, any other questions? Thanks.
No, thank you, Bob. Brad? Thanks for waiting, Brad.
No problem.
You'll get to go first.
Good evening. We'll start with the street department. They have been busy repairing stormwater inlets, street sweeping, and continuing to clean sanitary sewers. Water department pumped 70 million gallons for the month of June. The demand is high due to the dry weather. At the wastewater treatment plant, business as usual. Plant treated 75 million gallons for the month of June, sent out to Little Eagle Creek. The MPDS permit for the plant has been sent into IDM. We should get a rough draft of that permit probably around September, and no problems with it. The new one will go into effect in November. That's all I have.
Okay. Any questions for Brad?
Recovering okay?
Yes, going good. Thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on to the town manager report.
I have a couple of pictures to show you, so we'll wait for those to come up.
Here's one.
Yeah. No PowerPoint slide. Just wanted to give a quick update of the different projects around town. So, because I do serve that dual role of Economic Development Director right now. So this is a look at Freddy's. Freddy's opened in mid-May. Things are going well there. You never drive by that facility that the line's not almost out onto the to the access road. Next picture, please. This is a look, and this is about a week old, so they've made some progress since that. This is a look at the Hampton Inn. You can see the walls are up. They've started to at least work on some of the interior work. You can see the conference center there to the left, kind of behind the crane. It's commencement, so a very good project that's made some good progress. Next picture. This is a look at the Valvoline site. They broke ground a couple of weeks ago and now have progressed to getting all the underground work going, infrastructure, sewer, water, et cetera. So I think they're hoping to be open late this year, but that might be optimistic. We'll see. Next picture. I think I have one more. This is a look at the new parking lot on 16th Street. This is actually a look at the gate arms and the island there at the entrance off of 16th. Very nice parking lot. It is 95% done. The only thing we're waiting on is the gate arms. The gate arms have been ordered for about almost 90 days now and should have been here this month, but they are not here yet. Next picture. This is just a different view. Same kind of location, just looking towards the back. And then the final picture, I believe, is the 1300 block. If you haven't driven by there recently, lots of progress has been made. Windows have been installed. Brick exterior is mostly complete. And they will begin interior construction here in the next several weeks. They are hoping to get the condos up and ready to go in the fall. The only other comment I would have about the condos is that all of them have either been sold or are under contract. So they've gone very well. I think that's all the pictures I have. So other than that, just getting back off of vacation from last week. It was good to be out of the office, but paying that price today, going through emails and different voicemails. So, and budgets are starting. So it's been a good day so far. That's all I have.
Okay.
Grant, a quick question on Main Street parking, where it's parallel parking, 15th, between 14th and 15th. They did that, they changed that, they pulled the bricks out of there and did a stamp.
Yeah, we put the new concrete.
Yeah.
Yep.
Are they going to paint lines for the parking? There's a lot of times you have some bigger cars in there taking up.
Okay. I don't know that I know the answer to that. So
I just thought it was.
If they haven't done it by this point, they probably aren't, but I can discuss that with Rob.
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. It might be something they will want to look at.
Okay.
So.
Any questions for Grant?
You didn't mention anything about the senior citizens center.
Oh, yes, the apartments. I just, didn't have any good pictures of that site, but they have started the construction there, and that should be it's a really big building. So it should be a nice product. 55 and older apartments. So should be great.
Yeah, fantastic. Anything else? We'll move on. Next, reports from counselors. Gary Pettico.
If you're physically able and have the time, please consider donating blood or platelets or red blood cells. That's all I've got.
Counselor Eileen Fisher.
I just want to wish Officer Harris best in his retirement, and then go Speedway plugs Little League girls this weekend.
Yeah, they were really excited.
They were.
Amen. Counselor David Lindsay.
I'm just excited you got to me, and I actually have some things to discuss tonight that someone else didn't bring up, so.
Oh, you made it.
Yeah, Cheryl usually takes all the thunder from me, so. Just a reminder, school starts, I know all the kids watching at home are going to love to hear this. School starts August the 2nd here in town, and the school is doing online registration, and that is open this week. So that's a new way to do it, which I think is fantastic. It's quick and easy. I need to do it this week, haven't got to it yet. And then on Thursday, July 28th, I do not have the time, but I'm sure they will let everyone know, the high school band is having their summer showcase. It's free to the community. It's in the football field at the high school. They will perform their show that they're doing this summer that they will be performing at the state fair. It's also a fundraiser. They accept donations that day, but it's a great time to come out. It's free. It's good for the whole family. They'll have games to come out and watch the band, get to see their new uniforms, and watch them. They'll actually perform the show 2-3 times. So that's on the 28th, and I'm sure it will be on social media about the time. And I thought it was great to have the softball team here. Wish them good luck in their state tournament coming up. That's all I have.
Fantastic. Vice President Gary Ricks.
First, I want to thank a lot of residents, friends, employees that reached out to me. My mother passed away 2 weeks ago today, and just a lot of just kind people that have supported us in the last year as she battled cancer and COPD, so thank you. Second, as the other counselors have said, go Spark Plugs, 10 and under Little League team. It's exciting to see that. Counselor Lindsay, I think there's at least one school student that's watching, and she happens to still be here.
Good.
I'm not sure. There's a whole bunch more.
I'm sure her parents have registered her for school.
There you go.
Good job, Dad.
Yeah. So that's all I have to report this evening.
Okay. Report from Town Council President. I think summertime is great. It goes too fast, and it's been too hot this year. But I think there's been a lot of activity on Main Street, even in the heat. I think a lot of people are getting out and visiting in restaurants and establishments. Race season is not over, and I think we got a big event coming in a couple of weeks here that, again, be able to show off some of the Speedway pride, welcoming a lot of visitors to our town. And just be careful with the added traffic from that standpoint. And again, if you see something, say something. I think we just proved with the fact that somebody mentioned the fact that they were messing with the hydrants, and it was immediately, brought the attention of the police, and they reacted to it. It's good to have that kind of response by our Speedway Police Department, and having our fire department out there watching our backs too when it comes to taking care of accidents and things like that. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Chuck, for all the work that you guys do. Other than that, I wish everybody to have a nice summer. So that's anything else to come before the council? Hearing none, it is 8:16.